Today, we're going to break down the meaning behind Rembrandt's The Night Watch, one of the most famous and mysterious paintings in art history, and explain why it continues to captivate audiences centuries after it was first painted. Pause for a moment and think, what makes a painting not just impressive, but legendary? How does an artwork capture the imagination of millions for hundreds of years? Rembrandt painted The Night Watch in 1642, at the height of the Dutch Golden Age, when art, culture, and trade flourished in the Netherlands. This painting is massive, over 12 feet tall and more than 14 feet wide, making it not only physically imposing, but also rich in detail, drama, and intrigue. However, it's not just its size that makes The Night Watch one of the most celebrated works in Western art. There's a lot more going on. Look closely at the figures in the painting. This is not a typical formal group portrait of the time. Instead, Rembrandt has turned a static scene into a dynamic moment, full of movement and energy. The Night Watch depicts a company of Dutch militia, led by Captain Frans Banning Kock, who's dressed in black with a red sash, and his lieutenant, Willem van Ruitenburg, in bright yellow. At first glance, it seems like a chaotic jumble of people preparing for action. But the more you look, the more you realize that every figure is carefully placed. Rembrandt skillfully directs your eye across the canvas, creating a sense of depth and motion. Ask yourself, how does the movement in this painting make you feel? Does it feel alive? Like you're standing right there with these men as they prepare for something? Here's something interesting. Despite the common title, The Night Watch is not a night scene at all. Over time, the varnish on the painting darkened, giving it a nighttime appearance, but it originally depicted a daylight scene. This discovery during restoration has added even more layers to the painting's already fascinating history. The meaning behind The Night Watch goes beyond just capturing a group of militiamen. It's a bold experiment in portraiture, light, and storytelling. Instead of lining up the figures in a stiff, formal arrangement, as was common for group portraits at the time, Rembrandt introduces action, light, and shadow in ways that were revolutionary for his era. Here's where it gets really fascinating. Rembrandt's use of chiaroscuro, the dramatic contrast between light and dark, was groundbreaking. Light illuminates the main figures, while others fade into the shadows. The interplay of light and darkness not only adds depth and realism, but also directs your attention to key elements of the story. One of the most mysterious and talked about figures in the painting is the little girl standing just behind the captain and lieutenant. Dressed in glowing gold, she stands out in an otherwise male-dominated scene. Her inclusion has puzzled art historians for years, and many believe she represents the company's mascot or even a symbolic figure, perhaps a reference to the militia's emblem, a chicken claw, which she carries on her belt. Think about this. How do these small details, like the girl and her symbolic objects, change the way you interpret the painting? What hidden meanings could be lurking in a work of art that's otherwise about military pride? Rembrandt was a master at capturing human expression and emotion, and you can see this in the faces of the men. There's a mixture of focus, readiness, and camaraderie, with each figure displaying unique characteristics. This ability to portray individual personalities within a group setting was a hallmark of Rembrandt's skill. Here's another fascinating detail. This painting originally hung in the banquet hall of the Cloveniers-Doelen, the headquarters of the civic militia in Amsterdam. Over the years, the painting was moved and even trimmed to fit its new location, which means we've lost some of the original composition. Can you imagine how much more dramatic it would have been if we could see it in its entirety? One reason The Night Watch continues to hold such value today is because of its innovation. Rembrandt broke away from the conventions of group portraiture, creating something that felt more like a historical scene or a cinematic moment. This was a huge leap forward in the development of art, influencing countless artists who came after him. Think about this. What other forms of media, like photography or film, use similar techniques of lighting, shadow, and movement to tell a story? The Night Watch is also a reminder of Amsterdam's golden age, when the city was at the height of its economic and cultural power. The painting serves as a symbol of civic pride, celebrating the ordinary men who defended the city. But more than that, it captures a snapshot of 17th century Dutch life, preserving a moment of history for future generations. Try this. Next time you look at a group photo or a large painting, think about the composition. How are the people arranged, and what story does that arrangement tell? How might lighting and shadow be used to create depth or focus, attention? So, in short, The Night Watch is more than just a portrait of a Dutch militia. It's a masterpiece of light, movement, and storytelling, revolutionizing the way we think about group portraiture and art itself. That's why it remains one of the most admired and valuable paintings in history. If you'd like to understand and know more about art, follow this channel. And before you go, let us know in the comments which artwork you'd like to see explained next. Let's keep exploring the fascinating world of art together.